am John Ryan. It is Tuesday, May 31st. Tomorrow's the first day of June. I can hardly even believe it, but what I can't hardly believe is the excitement of that Game 7 with the Boston Celtics hanging on by a thread against the Never Say Die Jimmy Butler Miami Heat, and what a game that was. Unfortunately, in that one, I lost my first 10% play on the Heat, so you can imagine the excitement that I had down the stretch, especially when Jimmy Butler had that wide open three. And I know there's a lot of controversy whether he should have driven the paint or whatever, but you know what? Superstars play to win, and I will never fault a guy of that stature going for it all in the final seconds of a game. And that's why we love the sport so much, and that's why we like betting on them as well. It just makes it so much more enjoyable and fun when it's that kind of excitement. We now have the NBA Finals set up between the Golden State Warriors, who will be the home team and also the home favorite in Game 1, taking on the Celtics, and the Celtics will have less rest. And we're going to dive into a lot of the analytics here in this special edition of the Triple Double Show. And let's get right to it, shall we? The NBA Finals are really a definitive matchup between vast playoff experience, including 3 NBA championships, and taking on a Celtics team that has minimal playoff experience by comparison, especially the NBA Finals, where hardly any players have any of that type of experience on the big stage. Warriors are making their 6th NBA Finals appearance and looking to win their 4th NBA championship in the past 8 seasons, matching the record set by the Michael Jordan-led Chicago Bulls during the 1990s. The Celtics are making their first NBA Finals appearance since 2010, and despite the disparity of experience levels, defense does win championships, and both teams bring in the best the NBA has to offer. So in this matchup, we feature the 2 top teams as measured by defensive efficiency rating in the entire NBA Association this season. And this has not happened as an NBA Finals matchup since 1995-96 season, when the Chicago Bulls defeated the Seattle Supersonics 4-2. The mid-90s featured slow-paced, highly physical, totally different style of play than we see now. The result was a league average of 99.5 points per game. That's what each team averaged that season. Only 3 times in 6 games played did the winning team score 100 or more points in that series. The Bulls took a 3-0 lead before the Supersonics turned up the defensive pressure they were known for and held the Bulls to 87 or fewer points over the remaining 3 games of the series. The Bulls had scored 107 and 108 in 2 of the first 3 games, of which they won in that series. Kind of interesting because it ties right into this series, in my opinion. And similarly, the Warriors and Celtics Finals, the Bulls averaged 105.2 points per game. The Supersonics 104.5. I'm sorry, not the Supersonics, but the upcoming Warriors series. The Bulls averaged 105.2 points per game scored for the season. Supersonics averaged 104.5 points per game average, and they were ranking 1st and 2nd in the association at that time in 1995-96. Defensively, the Bulls ranked 2nd, allowing an average of 92.9. Remember, every team was scoring an average of 99.5, so significantly below the average of the NBA that year. And the Supersonics ranked 8th, allowing 96.7 points per game. Celtics ranked best this season, allowing 104.5 points per game, and the Warriors 3rd, allowing 105.5 points per game. So you can just see by those numbers the evolution of the game has become increasingly more and more scoring. However, as we will see the last 2 seasons, we have seen a precipitous drop in the average total line that we look at to bet. So the Warriors ranked 2nd with a defensive 51.1% effective field goal percentage, 6th, allowing 34.4% three-point shooting, 2nd, allowing 50.8% two-point shooting, and 6th with a 1.617 defensive assist-to-turnover ratio, which many of you know is one of my big weightings in my models, is assist-to-turnover ratio, both offensively and defensively, how a team disrupts how an opponent takes care of the ball, and how they themselves take care of the ball is invaluable in sports betting and sports betting models. So the Celtics ranked best with a 49.9% defensive effective field goal percentage. They're best in the association, allowing 33.5% three-point shooting, and they are best with a 49.7% two-point shooting, 3rd overall with a 1.558 defensive assist-to-turnover ratio. So let's get to the trends and angles you need to know for Game 1 of the NBA Finals. And I'm going to throw up a couple charts here as we're moving along through this. Let's start with home teams in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. 17-2 straight up. 16-3 against the spread. Good for 84.2% winning bets over the 19 NBA Finals. That is a trend that has really been in force for a long time and certainly bodes well for the Warriors. But we got to remember, this is a matchup that we haven't seen since 1996 of the top two defensive teams in terms of defensive efficiency. So it becomes a little less valuable when analyzing and breaking down and handicapping this whole series, let alone Game 1 and Game 2. The total in those Game 1s is 7-12 over-under, favoring under bets, win 12 of the 19 times. The home team has been favored in all 19 Game 1s of the NBA Finals. Home favorites of not more than 7 points in Game 1 have earned a highly profitable 14-1 straight up against the spread, including a 6-9 over-under record. All these situational angles definitely lean towards the Warriors. Now, let's take a look at rest, because the Warriors have been sitting around kind of waiting here to see who they were going to play. I guess going into Game 6, they thought it was the Celtics. It ended up being that way, but after Game 6, there had to be a lot of uncertainty on who was actually going to face the Warriors. And let's move the chart here a little bit. Those are the rankings of the teams and the matchups. In that chart right there, you can see just an eye test that all the arrows seem to be pointing more so to the Golden State Warriors than the Celtics. Again, that's just an indication. It's all part of the handicapping process. And here we have a kind of a mixed bag in the other types of stats that are not what I call flash stats, like points per game, allowed points per game scored, assists per game, that type of thing. But still, the leaning statistically here is towards a look at Golden State to win this thing. And then we have a couple hot streaks there. But here we have the finals and Game 1 and the 22 playoffs that I want you to look at now. And in this box, Warriors come into this finals with 6 days of rest. Only 4 other teams have had 6 or more days of rest spanning the last 19 NBA Finals. You have to go 4-0 sweep or 4-1, which they did to get it done, right? So in Game 1 of the 2005 Finals is the last time, second to last time that it happened over the last 19 playoff seasons. The San Antonio Spurs hammered the Detroit Pistons 84-69. It sounds like I'm saying a halftime score by today's standards. They were 5.5-point favorites, easily covered the spread, and the under went under by 26 points against a 179-point closing total. The Spurs won the NBA championship that year. In 2007 NBA Finals, the Spurs again won Game 1, 85-76, covered the spread as 7.5-point favorites, and the under went under by 19 points. The Spurs went on to win that NBA championship. Think we're on to something? In the 2015 Finals, the Warriors defeated the Cleveland Cavaliers 108-100, had 7 days of rest. The Cavaliers that year actually had more rest because they swept their opponent, and it took the Warriors one extra game, and therefore 1 extra day was deleted from the rest, but they had 7, and the Cleveland Cavaliers actually had more rest. It didn't matter. They won 108-100. The Warriors did a 6-point spread, and the over-under winning by just 4 points to the over. The Warriors won the World Championship 4-2 in that season. In the 2017 season, the Warriors won Game 1, 113-91 by 22 points as a 7.5-point favorite, covering the spread by 14.5 points, and the under wager won by 21 points. Warriors won that championship 4-1. So in Game 1 of the NBA Finals, the home team that has had 6 or more days of rest is a perfect 4-0 straight up and against the spread. Over-under has gone 3-1, favoring the under, and all of those teams have gone on to win the NBA championship. So I'm definitely leaning Golden State here for the championship. It'd be interesting to see how these lines adjust even during Game 1. You might be able to pick off some better value, especially if the Celtics take a double-digit lead like they're accustomed to doing in the first quarter. But I can tell you this. Boston's going to have to start doing things differently down the stretch. They blew a lot of double-digit fourth-quarter leads this season, especially in the first half, and people forget about that. But they can't do what they did in Game 7 against the Miami Heat. Miami Heat were down to basically one offensive scorer for all intents and purposes, and that was Jimmy Butler, of course. The Warriors have wide array of scoring talent, and I have done a lot of statistical analysis, including machine learning, on what teams and what the proper composition is to put together an NBA championship team. And the bottom line is that the more diverse the positions are, where a team can go to a center or go to a power forward or go to a guard or a shooting guard to get points, it makes that life so much easier for a guy like Steve Kerr to make those adjustments and be able to react to what the defense is doing to his team. Conversely, if a team is, with the exception of Michael Jordan, Jimmy Butler, where there is kind of a one-man scoring machine, Jordan still had his sidekicks, you know, Scottie Pippen, Steve Kerr, and we all know the other names. And he was able to distribute the ball to them. But when it was crunch time, nobody was going to outdo Michael Jordan. That's why I consider him the best of all time. And that's a debate for another show, but that's just my opinion. But as you can see, the Celtics are the same way. They have a three-headed monster as well that is going to make it very hard for the Warriors' defense to kind of take one or two of them out and put the game in the hands of the other, because they're all very, very talented. And you definitely have Marcus Smart. Tatum, of course, was the MVP of the conference finals, although I thought Jimmy Butler deserved that award. And it's about time we start considering what MVP means. Is it truly the best player on the court, or is it the best player as it pertains to the value to his team? And I think we all would agree the best player in terms of MVP that was value to the team was Jimmy Butler. I mean, where would the Heat have been without Jimmy Butler on the court doing what he was doing in all those games? I have no idea, but it would have never gone 7 games, that's for sure. So far in the NBA playoffs, home teams are 55-34 straight up, 45-42 against the spread, including 24-51 and 2 pushes on the over-under. That means that 60% of the bets, just blindly, if you would have bet the under in every single game, you would have come out 60% winners for the playoffs in this season. Home favorites are 38-17 straight up, 30-25 against the spread, including 24-31-1 over/under. Good for 56% winning bets in the playoffs this season. And you can read the rest of them down here, but one that really sticks out, the home favorites coming off a straight-up loss, and I think this is one that we want to pay attention to for the finals as well, are 19-8 straight up, 14-13 against the spread, including a highly profitable 20-7 over/under, favoring the under, and that means 74% winning bets, taking the under just blindly with a home favorite off of a loss. That's pretty outstanding, and that goes 19 seasons, which is a pretty good sample size. Home favorites coming off a straight-up win. They actually, and it makes sense to me. You come off a home win, you're feeling good about yourself, the offense is clicking, and lo and behold, the over goes 17-11 in those games. 19-9 straight up, 16-12 against the spread. Home teams that are the better seed, which in this case is the Celtics, they're in the number 2 seed. The Warriors are the 3 seed, so they're the better seed, the Celtics are. They're 32-12 straight up, 28-16 against the spread, including a 19-24-1 over/under, good for 56% winning under bets in the playoffs this season. And now let's focus on the top 10 situational angles for the NBA Finals. And as here you can see, and these are very valuable, and they're going to be, store them somewhere. I'll be doing the same show next year. The numbers will just be a little bit different to reflect the addition of the results from this NBA Finals. But these things I've looked at for 19 seasons, obviously, and I do have data that goes back even further than that. So in this case here, in the NBA Finals, home favorites are, wait, let me just get here. Here we go. Home favorites in the NBA Finals with a total of 215 or more points are 13-5 straight up, 11-6-1 against the spread for 65% winning bets, including 11-7 over/under in that span. Home teams playing in game 3 and lost the first 2 games of the series on the road, which would be Boston in this case. They lose both games to the Warriors out there in San Francisco. This kicks in, and it's 7-5 straight up, 4-8 against the spread for 33% winning bets, including 5-6-1 over/under record. Golden State's a 3.5-point favorite, so quick math with home court advantage and that type of thing would then make the Celtics probably about the same thing at home. So they're not going to be huge favorites here, and there won't be. I don't think there'll be a dog the whole series unless, God forbid, there's an injury. We don't want to see that to anybody or on any team. However, betting the money lines is going to be more attractive in this NBA Finals than any finals I can remember, simply because I don't think you're going to get higher than maybe 4.5, and it probably going to be between the threes, meaning that it's going to be a 3.5 point favorite, depending on who the home team is. We'll have to see how that goes, but I'm pretty confident saying that right now. And again, barring any unfortuitous injury to a key player, I think that's the way it's going to play out. The totals are going to be right around that 213 to 217 range, which is a little bit higher than what we had in the conference finals, which averaged a 208-point total, which was 9.5 points lower than the previous season's conference finals. So that tells you that the defenses of the Final Four were among the best, if not the best, in the NBA, because otherwise you wouldn't have had totals collapsing like that. In fact, in the Miami Heat Celtics series, 4 consecutive games, the last 4 of that series, the total went lower and lower and lower and lower, and that hasn't happened very often in the last 19 playoff seasons. That much I can tell you. Home teams that are down 2-1 in the series. This would be game 4 now. 8-8 straight up. So there you go. Is that going to be a play money line Golden State perhaps? Or is that going to be where we do take the points, knowing that it's going to be very close historically? Evidence tells us that. And that it is possible that, say, Boston is a 4-point favorite. They could win the game by 3 and you cover. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't ever get that granular in terms of like a team's going to win by 1, let alone by 3 or 5. It's more like I think a team's going to win by, double digits, hopefully. That's why the bets go out in the first place. But you can see here the under. Again, when a team has its back against the wall down 2-1, and you can't go 3-1 in the finals because it's pretty much over. It is over, as for all intents and purposes, especially if the Warriors are the team that because they know how to close. They've already done this 3 times in the past. This is their 6th time in the last 8 seasons to the NBA Finals. So they're not lacking in knowing what to do, and they have a great coach in Steve Kerr leading the way. So if this goes according to what I see is Warriors go up 2-0, Boston wins game 3, and then game 4, we want to target the under, certainly in this series. That has gone 12-3 under. 75% winning under bets over the last 19 seasons. And then I started looking at teams that average more points in the paint than their opponent. Very solid. 11-7 straight up, 12-6 against the spread. Good for 67% winning bets, including 7-11 over under, favoring the under in that particular case. So that would actually favor the Warriors in that situation. Points in the paint scored. Actually, I think that is the Celtics. I have to double check that, or maybe one of you people that are listening to this can double check it. But whoever it applies to, it is leaning that way for that team. So I'm just providing these as a resource for everybody to use for their own handicapping. And then when we come back tomorrow and Thursday for the NBA Triple-Double with my good friend and pal Ronald Kabang, we can extend this data and this resource, add more to it, talk about player props, and we'll have a real good handle before Thursday even approaches. And that's what you want to do. You don't want to wait till the last hour to make that final decision. You want to basically in the finals here have a roadmap of how you're going to bet the whole entire series based on how many games you think it's going to go. And we'll certainly talk about that in the Triple-Double show tomorrow. Also, the bet props that are available at BetMGM, for example, are going to be out later tonight, I believe, that will give you the opportunity to say, I think they're going to win in 6. I think they're going to win in 7. Number of overtime games. Will there be overtime in game 6? Everything under the sun, like the Super Bowl prop bets that we love to talk about and get involved with. So I think that'll conclude today's show. It's about 21 minutes here of me talking. And I hope this was a valuable resource for you. I think it will be. It has been for me. And this is just like a starting point of the tip of the iceberg of how professionals look at data, look at the analytics, and then try to decide initially, where are we going with this? You know, we've heard the saying, drilling down the rabbit hole. All right, so we drill down the rabbit hole, sometimes at the dead end. So then we do another one, and we just keep searching and searching. And one of the ones I will feature tomorrow on the show has to do with free throw percentage and fast break points scored, which has brought out some really intelligent matchup advantages. So yeah, it's fundamentals that are supported by the analytics, and that's what produces winners over the course of the season, and why I've been hitting 71% over the last 50 NBA plays, despite losing that 10%er on Sunday night, which was disappointing. But we're still 3-1. We're 17-6. I have a 5%er Major League Baseball going Tuesday evening. So if you're listening to this on Tuesday, make sure you get over to Sports Memo and get it for just $7 on $2 Tuesday. You can also get 3 guys for the price of $5 and get their 3 best bets for the Tuesday card. It is our most popular day of the week. Tuesday, $2 Tuesday is very popular, and rightfully so, because everybody at sportsmemo.com knows what they're doing, or they would not be on that site. Same thing happens at Wager Talk, and we're just one big and truly happy family, and I can't say anything more that is true. And without the staff of Sports Memo, the video team, the marketing team, all the support that every handicapper gets, including myself, we wouldn't be in this position to bring you the great records that we do, because our focus is totally on the handicapping process and everything that these pros have done for decades, including myself, which is working on my 28th season. So we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Again, make sure you get over to sportsmemo.com. Get my 5% MLB play. It's an underdog, by the way, $7. I think this dog is going to shock a lot of people when it comes time for that first pitch. So be sure to join us tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until then, remember 2 simple things. Bet with your head, not over it. And may all the wins continue to be yours. I appreciate you watching. Make sure you subscribe and ring that bell. We'll see you tomorrow.